lecture, we talked about gastrulation. Now, what is gastrula? It is a structure in which all the three germinal layers will be there: ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. What are the tissues which originate from ectoderm? We have seen in the previous class. From endoderm we have seen. From mesoderm we have seen. Now, in today's lecture, we'll talk about placenta, right? So, let's see what is placenta. Let's discuss what is placenta. It is a mechanical tissue. It is a physiological connection between the mother and the fetus. So, what is placenta? It is a mechanical and physiological connection between, it is the connection between fetus and the maternal tissue. Between fetus and maternal tissue, right? Now, after implantation, so what happens is, we'll see this diagram. So, this is blastocyst, right? And then comes endometrium. So, this is endometrium. This is the thickness of the endometrium. Now, they interdigitate with each other, right? The blastocyst make projections called as chorionic villi. Now, this is the blastocyst. These are the trophoblast cells. And then they have inner cell mass also, right? We discussed this already in the previous lecture. And here is a inner cell mass, right? This is the endometrium. Now, we are telling that when this is the fetus or blastocyst, the blastocyst is projecting and making chorionic villi. The blastocyst will secrete certain lytic enzymes. The lytic enzymes will disintegrate or they'll dissolve certain regions of the endometrium so that this finger-like projection, so the blastocyst can penetrate and make chorionic villi. Now, when they are making chorionic villi, this endometrium also interdigitates into the chorionic villi. If these are the chorionic villi, then the endometrium also interdigitates, and then this collectively structure is called as placenta. Both of them, fetal tissue and the maternal tissue, both of them interdigitate to make the placenta. So, that's why we are telling, like, what is placenta? It is a mechanical and physiological connection between this is the maternal tissue and this is the fetal tissue. Now, what part is the fetal part which makes the placenta, and what part is a maternal part which makes the placenta? The maternal part is called as decidua and the fetal part is called as chorionic villi. We already wrote. The fetal part is called as chorionic villi. It is villi. And the maternal part is called as decidua, right? So, now decidua is divided into three portions. The first portion of the decidua, which is in contact with the chorionic villi, means this portion of the decidua which is in contact with the chorionic villi is called as Decidia basalis. It is Decidia basalis. Means which portion of the decidua is making the placenta, means it is Decidia basalis. Then the portion of the endometrium, which entire covers the blastocyst, this region, we told it is interstitial implantation where the blastocyst will be completely buried inside the endometrium. This is the endometrium and the blastocyst will be buried inside the endometrium. The portion of the endometrium which will enclose the blastocyst is called as Decidia capsularis. What is this portion called? Decidia capsularis. The third portion of the decidia which is away from this blastocyst is called as Decidia Parietalis. Means it is this region. It is this region which is not in contact with the chorionic villi. The first portion of the what is this? Endometrium. The first portion of the endometrium which is interdigitating with the chorionic, villi, RIONIC, right? Which is interdigitating with the chorionic villi is called as Decidia basalis. That portion of the endometrium which encloses the blastocyst is called as Decidia capsularis, and the remaining portion of the endometrium which is not in contact with the chorionic villi is called as Decidia parietalis. What is the third layer called? This is called as Decidia parietalis. This is the third layer. The first layer is basalis, the second layer is capsularis, and the third layer is Decidia parietalis. But which region is making the placenta? Means it is Decidia basalis which is making the placenta. What is the weight of the placenta? Placenta approximately weighs 500 grams. The placenta approximately it weighs 500 grams. Now, if we see the fetus, later this develops into a fetus, right? Now, this is the placenta. Now, the fetus is connected to the placenta through a cord. Now, what is this cord called? This is called umbilical cord. Now, what is this structure? It is placenta. What is placenta? Placenta is a mechanical and physiological connection between the mother and the fetus. Now, this placenta is connected through the fetus. This is fetus. Is connected through the fetus through a cord which is called as umbilical cord. Now, what does umbilical cord contains? What does umbilical cord contains? This umbilical cord contains two umbilical arteries and it contains one umbilical vein. It contains two umbilical arteries. Now, umbilical arteries, they will help in carrying the deoxygenated blood from the fetus to the placenta. Umbilical arteries, what do? They help to remove deoxygenated blood. From where are they removing the deoxygenated blood? From the fetus, gives it to the placenta. Umbilical arteries help to remove the deoxygenated blood from the fetus, gives it to the placenta. Umbilical vein, one umbilical vein will bring the oxygenated blood from the placenta to the fetus. One umbilical vein, it brings oxygenated blood from where? From the placenta to the fetus. So, we are telling that this umbilical cord, it is having one umbilical artery, one umbilical vein, and it has a supporting mucous connective tissue which is called as Warthin's jelly. It has a supporting mucous connective tissue. It has a supporting mucous connective tissue. What is it called? Warthin's jelly. These are the components of this structure which is called as umbilical cord, and this umbilical cord is completely covered by a layer of amniotic membrane. This umbilical cord is completely covered by a layer of amniotic membrane. Children, did you understand? We are talking about placenta. We told placenta is a mechanical and physiological connection between the fetus and the maternal tissue. And the fetal part which contributes in placenta formation is chorionic villi. Chorionic villi are the projections of the trophoectodermal cells. The maternal part which contributes in placenta formation is Decidia basalis. This portion is Decidia basalis. Now, there is a cord which connects placenta to the fetus. That cord is called umbilical cord. Now, what is this umbilical cord having? It is having two arteries, it is having one vein, it is having a mucous connective tissue which is called as Warthin's jelly, and it is completely wrapped by amniotic membrane. And what is the length of this umbilical cord? The length of this umbilical cord is 12 to 24 inches long. The length of the umbilical cord is 12 to 24 inches long, and the weight of the placenta is 500 grams. Take a screenshot, then we will discuss. Right. So you understood what is placenta. Now let us understand what are the functions of the placenta also. Right. Let us discuss the functions of the placenta also. It has so many roles to do. It is endocrine also. It helps to supply nutrients also. It will collect the excretory materials also. It acts as a barrier also. It supplies antibodies also. So there are so many roles to talk about placenta. Now let us see the functions of placenta. Now, the first function of placenta. The first function of placenta is it acts as a, it supplies, we can tell, it supplies oxygen to the fetus. It supplies oxygen to the fetus and collects carbon dioxide. It gives oxygen, takes the carbon dioxide. Second function. It supplies nutrients to the fetus, collects the excretory materials. It supplies nutrients to the fetus and collects excretory materials. It collects excretory materials. This is a next function. Then if we have to talk about the things, we told like placenta, through the placenta, one antibody, IgG antibody can go from the mother maternal tissue and it helps to survive the baby from certain infections. So placenta helps, okay, to supply IgG maternal antibody. So IgG maternal antibody can cross the placenta and provide passive immunity. It gives passive immunity to the fetus. So it is protecting the fetus by supplying IgG antibodies. In the same manner, it acts as a barrier for certain toxins and for certain pathogens to cross inside. It acts as a barrier. It acts as a barrier against certain pathogens, drugs. Okay, so it will not allow certain drugs and pathogens to cross across it. Then what are the functions we are telling? It's a physical tissue, it's a mechanical tissue which helps in maintaining the pregnancy. And then we are telling it supplies oxygen, takes out carbon dioxide. It supplies nutrients, takes out excretory materials, and it helps in the passage of IgG antibodies, provides passive immunity. Then we are telling it acts as a barrier against certain pathogens and drugs. And then placenta acts as an endocrine tissue also. It secretes hormones at the time of pregnancy. Placenta acts as an endocrine tissue. What are the hormones which are secreted by the placenta means? One hormone is HCG. Another hormone is HPL. Another hormone is estrogen. Another hormone is progesterone. These are the hormones which are secreted by the placenta. First one is human chorionic gonadotrophin, HCG hormone secreted by the placenta. So this helps in the growth of the fetus. What is HCG helping in? It helps in the growth of fetus. Human chorionic gonadotrophin. It helps in the growth of the fetus. It helps to maintain the uterine dimensions. It helps to maintain the thickness of the uterus so that it can bear the weight of the baby. And this HCG in the gravid woman, in the pregnant woman, it comes out in urine. It helps in detection of pregnancy. It helps in detection of pregnancy. Placenta secretes HCG hormone which comes out in urine, which helps in detection of the pregnancy, and HCG helps in the growth of the fetus. It helps in the uterine dimensions. Now HCG will sustain the corpus luteum. What is corpus luteum? Temporary endocrine tissue which produces progesterone. So progesterone is a pregnancy maintaining hormone. Now HCG will allow the corpus luteum to sustain so that it can secrete progesterone. HCG will help to sustain. It helps in sustaining corpus luteum. What is corpus luteum? After the Graafian follicle ruptures to release the egg, the remaining part develops into corpus luteum, which is a temporary endocrine tissue we studied in menstruation, right? So HCG will sustain the corpus luteum, which produces progesterone. Which produces progesterone. Understood? So all these are the functions of the first hormone, HCG. Now the second hormone is HPL. HPL stands for human placental lactogen. HPG stands for human placental lactogen. Now what is the role of human placental lactogen? HPL is also called as somatomammotrophon. This is also called as somatomammotrophon. HPL is also called as somatomammotrophon. What it will do means it helps in increasing the plasma levels of, it has an, we can tell that HPL has, in simple words we can tell it has anti-insulin effect. HPL has anti-insulin effect. What do you mean by insulin? Insulin is hypoglycemic hormone. It reduces the blood glucose levels, and we are telling HPL has anti-insulin effect, means it increases the glucose levels, it increases the amino acid levels. For the growing fetus, glucose, amino acids and nutrients are required. So placenta will secrete the second hormone called as HPL, which has anti-insulin effect. This anti-insulin effect helps in increasing the glucose concentration and amino acid concentration in the maternal blood. Anti-insulin effect. So HPL helps to increase glucose and amino acid concentration. Glucose and amino acid concentration in maternal blood. This is the next function. So first hormone, HCG. HCG will allow to maintain the corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone. It maintains the uterus, it thickens the uterus so that the pregnancy will be maintained. HCG comes out in urine, which is used to detect the pregnancy. HPL, we are telling it is anti-insulin effect. It is called as somatomammotrophon. It increases the glucose concentration, amino concentrations which are required for the fetus development. The third hormone is estrogen. The third hormone is estrogen. Now, estrogen is a female sex hormone. It also promotes the uterine growth and it helps in the development of mammary glands. Estrogen, it helps in maintaining uterine growth. This is one role of estrogen, and it helps in the development of mammary glands. It helps in development of mammary glands. Now children, the last hormone secreted by placenta is progesterone. Progesterone is called as pregnancy maintaining hormone. Progesterone is called as pregnancy maintaining hormone. If you remember, corpus luteum secretes progesterone. Placenta also secretes progesterone. So, progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum also. Progesterone is secreted by the placenta also. And it is called as pregnancy maintaining hormone. What will progesterone do? So progesterone, it supports the fetal growth. Why is it called as a pregnancy maintaining hormone? Means it helps in fetal growth, first function. So we are telling that progesterone helps in fetal growth. It helps to maintain the metabolic changes which are required in the mother during pregnancy. It helps to maintain the metabolic changes. So many metabolic changes will appear in the pregnant woman. So progesterone helps to retain those metabolic changes. It helps to maintain the metabolic changes in mother during pregnancy. Right? And progesterone also helps to maintain pregnancy. Thus, it maintains pregnancy. That is why it is called pregnancy maintaining hormone. So, what did we discuss in this board? We were discussing the functions of the progesterone. Functions of the placenta. Placenta will help in gases exchange. Placenta will help in nutrient exchange. Placenta will provide passive immunity by supplying IgG antibodies. Placenta will act as a barrier to stop the toxins, pathogens entering into the fetus. Placenta acts as an endocrine tissue. It secretes 4 hormones: HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin; HPL, human placental lactogen; estrogen, female sex hormone; progesterone, pregnancy maintaining hormone. Take a screenshot, then we will discuss. Right. So, there are 3 hormones which are seen in the woman only at the time of pregnancy. One is HCG and the other one is HPL and the third one is relaxin. Relaxin is secreted by the ovaries late in the month of pregnancy, in the last months of pregnancy. So, the ovaries will secrete relaxin. That relaxin helps in relaxing the uterine muscles. So, relaxin, HCG, HPL are only seen in a pregnant woman only. So, let us write that. Other hormones, they will increase and they will decrease. But these hormones are seen only during pregnancy. So, in the woman's blood, if HCG hormone is detected, means the mother is pregnant. It confirms that she is pregnant, right? So, what are those hormones which are seen only at the time of pregnancy? We are telling they are, one is HCG, second one is HPL, and third one is relaxin, are seen only during pregnancy. These are the hormones which are seen only during pregnancy. Now, relaxin, I told, it is secreted by the ovary in the last months of pregnancy. These 2 hormones, you know, secreted by placenta. Relaxin is secreted by ovaries in the later months of, in the last months of pregnancy. These three hormones are seen only during pregnancy, whereas the other hormones are increased during pregnancy. What are the hormones which are increased during pregnancy means? So one is cortisol gets increased during pregnancy. Other one, estrogen, progesterone, prolactin. Estrogen will be increased. Progesterone will be increased. Prolactin. These are the hormones which are increased during pregnancy. And again, thyroxine also, which helps in increasing metabolic rate and the growth rate, right? So last one is thyroxine. All these hormone levels are increased during pregnancy. All these hormone levels, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are increased during pregnancy, whereas these three hormones only seen during pregnancy. Function of cortisol, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, they increase the mineral levels and glucose levels. Function of estrogen maintains pregnancy. Function of progesterone also maintains pregnancy. Prolactin helps to development of mammary glands, because after pregnancy, parturition and lactation will be there. Thyroxine helps to maintain the metabolic activity, helps to maintain the fetal growth and the maternal growth. So these hormones are increased during the pregnancy. Now, when we talk about placenta, we told it's a mechanical and physiological connection. Human placenta is of which type? Basing upon the intimacy between the fetus and the maternal tissue, we can call it as hemochorial placenta. Hemochorial placenta. Means, on what basis you are calling it as hemochorial placenta? On the basis of intimacy between the fetus and the maternal tissue. Basing on the distribution of the chorion. Chorion is distributed like a disc. Basing on the distribution of the chorion, we can also call human placenta as metadiscoid placenta. Metadiscoid placenta. Metadiscoid placenta, it is based on the type of chorionic villi. And hemochorial placenta, it is depending on the intimacy between the fetal and maternal tissue. All this is about placenta and the development of the embryo. In the next class, we will talk about the embryonic development. What is the duration of human pregnancy? In that, how can you divide into first trimester, second trimester and the third trimester? What changes we can see in the first trimester, second trimester and third trimester we can discuss. So in today's session, what we discussed is placenta. What is the fetal contribution? What is the maternal contribution? What is that umbilical cord? What is the length of the umbilical cord? What is the weight of the placenta? The roles of the placenta, it has so many roles. All the roles we discussed. Then the types of the placenta, it is hemochorial placenta, it is metadiscoid placenta. And what are those hormones which are seen only during pregnancy? 1, 2, 3. What are those hormones which are increased during pregnancy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the next class, we'll talk about embryonic development. Hope the lectures are informative. Any comments, kindly post them in the comment box. If you like the content, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.